Salam everyone. Thank you for coming every week to join the Circle of Resilience and listen to more stories of resilience, hope, and inspiration, and get connected with new people who are willing to share their stories and who are being open to get connected. Our guest for today is a combination of cultures and different aspects of life, has so many interests. She brought together the world of construction and yoga and mental health, and she has been passionate about health for over 30 years. So we're here today to connect with Trudy and know more about her and how she was able to bring those worlds together. Hi, Trudy.
Hello, Nicholas. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, thank you.
How's your day?
Good. Hot.
Super. Yeah, it feels super hot.
Yes, no,
Yeah.
but it's been good.
Right.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah. So before we start, I usually like to connect with guests through just speaking about what's happening in my country, Sudan.
Yes.
And this has been an issue that's really painful for me and for any Sudanese who is inside or outside or anywhere in the world. We're all impacted because we have our families there, we have our friends, and it's just our beloved country. And it has been, torn by war. And there are so many reasons behind that, of course. It's political, socio-cultural, historical, conflict over power and all that. But at the end of the day, people like me and you are the people who are paying the price. And they lose their families, they lose their homes, they lose the sense of security. And this is what's happening to Sudanese people, either inside or outside today. So just wanted to share that and ask if you have any words of solidarity or sending peace or love or anything.
Absolutely. I mean, sending love and peace and well wishes and, just hoping that resilience, the people are able to be resilient as this conflict plays through. And I'm just hoping that, larger factions come into play and they put a ceasefire to what's happening. And so my heart bleeds for the famine and the displacement of everyone there. It's really, and it's not a war that's gotten a lot of publicity, unfortunately, and it needs to be. More people need to talk about it and uprise about it. It's not just Ukraine that's happening, and it's not just a regional war. It's going to have larger implications, but certainly,
Yeah. I totally agree with you, and actually, this is one of the reasons that I'm bringing it here. Though the podcast topic and the theme doesn't seem so much connected to war or politics, but because I feel that there is very selectivity in where the world want to focus and what countries that they're concerned more about. And I just feel that my country and other countries in Africa aren't really being seen or heard or so we're just using this space to spread some words about it and
absolutely and keep doing it, because again, this is going to reach, hopefully the right individuals who will continue to talk about it and have it be top of mind.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that.
Of course. Yeah. Of course.
So let's start with your childhood.
My childhood.
Yeah, I know you were born in Jamaica, but you were raised in New York.
Correct.
And that's a very interesting combination. Besides having an immigrant family and have to live here in the United States is, I know it's always not the easiest experience for kids growing up.
Correct.
There is a mix of cultures and there is a mix of like different perspectives of life. And when you're home, you have to deal with certain things, and then when you go to school or go outside, you have to be more Americanized, right?
Correct.
Then you have to be connected to your heritage. So how did that impact your childhood, and how was that actually that process of
Yeah, it was an interesting dichotomy. So I left Jamaica when I was 7, and I was just very naive. Most children are, right?
Yes.
And the trip, the migration from Jamaica to New York isn't a unique one, because a lot of people do make that, and I did make the same trip to Brooklyn.
Yeah.
But I was only in Brooklyn for 6 months, and then I moved to Long Island.
Okay.
So with my mom and my aunt and my grandmother.
Okay.
So I lived with them for the first several years being in New York.
Okay.
But no, I mean, kids are cruel. You know, when they find out where you're from, they say mean things and they test you, right? But I still, again, I think I always had that innocence about me, and because I grew up in a Jamaican household, even that household was in New York, it was still very much a Jamaican household. Yeah. Right? And so, regardless of where we were, there were certain expectations and there were certain, you know, upbringings that we had that kind of superseded what was happening outside. So I think I kind of remained pretty innocent, even well into my teens, you know? So, and I was always an optimistic person, and so and remained so. Yeah. You know, always could see the glass half full. Yeah.
Actually, being optimistic, I have seen that when you were doing your pitch at Start Me.
I had to be, because I was the last one.
You were so patient, and I was like, it was amazing the way you did your pitch, and you were like very calm. But I don't know if I could do that, because you had to wait for about, I don't know how many people.
Well, it was, I think we had 18 people.
Yeah,
so.
Then everyone comes with their own pitch. They get they hear the evaluation from judges, and so that's too much.
You know, I thought about it, because normally it being last, I would have been completely freaked out about.
Right.
But it's just the mentality, right? Like, if you tell yourself to remain calm, and it is what it is, right? It's not going to change the fact that I'm last. It's just going to change how I approach it. So I just kept telling myself, everyone kept saying, oh my gosh, you're last. How do you feel? And I was like, it is what it is, you know? And so really and truly, that mentality and doing that helped me to remain calm. And actually being last, I got to see what other people did, and I was like, oh gosh, I should do that, right? Or I need to cut this out. So it was good. It was good to be able to see everything.
I like the perspective. So do you think this is something you adapt in life, like being centered and try not to worry about things? And
it's become more and more, you know, as I've gotten older, certainly practicing yoga has helped me to remain centered. Being a runner has helped me to remain centered. And I mean, I just compile my thoughts. But at the end of the day, there's a book called The Untethered Soul that a friend recommended last year. Yeah. And really and truly talks about, like, you decide how you show up, and you're going to adapt to any situation. Any situation. It doesn't matter what it is, you know? So, yeah, that's helped.
Yeah. But it takes time to build that.
Oh, absolutely. Right? Absolutely. Absolutely. It's taken me 40-something years, and every bit of it. But, you know, you learn from each of your experiences, and hopefully, you know, you take the good and you release the negative.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome.
So you mentioned that you were raised in a household that has mainly women, right? Your mom, your aunt, your grandmother. Yeah. So, and of course, I am very passionate and sometimes biased about women.
Yes, yes.
And I know that they have their own way of, shaping the world. The spirit that they pass through, the components of resilience. For me personally, it was passed to me from my mom. And so I was wondering when you said that, how did that shape you as a person?
Oh my gosh. My grandmother was the first to come over from Jamaica, so she sponsored everyone else to come.
That's amazing.
And so she was just my, just a bit about my grandmother. She was married with 3 children, my mom being the youngest. When my mom was 10, her father left. Like he traveled, he was I think an accountant for the circus, and so they went to Cuba or Venezuela. They went, and they usually would come back.
Yeah.
He did not, and so and left her with 3 children and his parents.
Oh, that's a lot.
His parents.
That's a lot.
Right? And never, I think that maybe was in touch once, maybe sent money once, but she had to very quickly learn how to take care of 3 people. And you know, the thing my mother would say is that she was never angry or never took it out on his parents, right? Because she just loved them.
Exactly.
And so I think that's the first kind of hint of resilience for her.
Yeah.
And then she moved to the States, and again, she's the first one to come. My mother got married, had children, stayed in Jamaica, and then upon my parents separating, my mother came up to the U.S. to be with her and my aunt. So, but you know, yeah, I mean, so she was the first kind of step of resilience there. And then my mom, she went from having a job in Jamaica, and Jamaica is a very different country than the U.S. And, you know, I think there's class differences in Jamaica, whereas there's all the differences here, right? There's class, there's race, there are all these factions. But, you know, my mother then had to work 2 jobs to have the kind of lifestyle and she wanted to afford to us that we had in Jamaica.
Yeah.
So she did. She worked 2 jobs for the majority of my formative years, my schooling years, up until through high school, you know. So that was difficult.
It is.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I know also your dad wasn't with you, but at some, like, you were together at some point in your life.
Oh gosh, yeah.
He shaped a lot of things about you today.
Very much so.
You are inspired by him in so many ways.
Very
So
much
I
so.
would love to hear that part as well, because we have been talking about women and
Yes, 100%. No, my father was, he was an amazing man. Like anybody who ever knew him would never have anything bad to say about him. He was the hardest worker. He would wake up early in the morning, which I definitely get that from him.
Yeah.
Like 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Maybe not so early for me.
Yeah.
But he worked at Bank of Nova Scotia for 40 plus years, and he rose through the ranks, worked in many different parts of Jamaica, South Lamar, Kingston, but anybody he came in touch with, he just was always so generous, you know, in his spirit, in his, with how he could help in any way. But he was also an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And so he had a flower shop with my stepmother. He had a juice business as well on the side. And so it was lovely seeing the many different kind of businesses he had.
Yeah.
And he just wanted to, again, you know, do something different and help his country economically in different ways, right? He had this kind of spirit, this entrepreneurial spirit to try multiple things.
Yeah.
So that's definitely where I got it from. And I would see him every summer. I'd go back every summer, so spend all summer long with him. So that was a blessing. Yeah,
of course. So it was consistently going and seeing him.
Oh yes, I mean he would come up to visit me, but definitely I would, and I would spend as much time with him outside of work as I could.
Beautiful. Yeah, and that just shows the positive side of couples being separated, but they're still able to, you know, to work together to be good parents.
They didn't. They never said a bad word about one another, my
Yeah,
parents.
right.
They were very supportive of one another all
Mhm.
their lives. It was something that I grew up seeing.
That's beautiful.
Yes.
Because I know it's one of the big things when there is a divorce, that it always kids are the victims of that. And everyone is just reflecting their perspective of the relationship on kids, and then you grow up having so many emotional negativity inside you, and even your perspective in the world can be impacted. So I could see like the healthy way they were
Correct.
parenting you. I could see that in so many ways.
Yes. No, it was definitely a grounding force
Mhm.
for me,
Mhm.
and I just always I thought all divorced couples were that way.
Mhm.
And so when I realized that they weren't, and people fought and they argued and they talked, dragged their kids in the middle, I
Yep.
just didn't understand because I never had to experience it.
Mhm. Yeah. Well, look at you.
Yes,
Yeah.
indeed.
I was wondering about the different worlds you bring together, like construction and bringing mental health and yoga and all those things together in one person, and being able actually to live that their life. So how, what is the relationship between them?
Well, I like to say that, I have an affinity for the built environment,
Mhm.
like, beautiful things around, right?
Mhm.
And so architecture and beautiful spaces.
Yeah.
And then the built environment, right? Your body.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
I think that's the correlation, is that I appreciate the beauty and want to maximize both,
Yeah.
right? Like, and showcase both in the best way. So we're only given one body.
That's true.
So, I try to take care of it the best I can. And again, I'm running because for mental health and for physical health. And then yoga, I was a Pilates instructor as well and got certified in Pilates, but that was after a back injury. So I came to find Pilates that way, right, through physical therapy.
Yeah.
And they said, oh, you should try Pilates for your back, because if your core is strong, everything else will be strong.
That's true.
So started there, and then loved the spiritual aspect of yoga.
Yes.
And so, especially probably during COVID, I was looking for something a little bit more based.
Yes.
In silence and meditation and with movement as well. So I think that's how I came to be a part of the yoga.
Yeah. Yeah, that's beautiful, and I absolutely agree with you. Like the well-being is like it's all connected. Your mental, your physical, your like emotional, anything that's within. As you said, it's just one body.
And your space, right? Like the space that you're in, your home, and what you surround yourself with, right? The colors and the, that can evoke emotion.
Yeah.
And make you feel calm, or it can make you feel anxious. So I think all of those are so interconnected.
Yeah, yeah. So with the colors, there are some colors that can make you calm, as you said. There are some colors that can just increase your anxiety, or at least you don't feel comfortable. And that means that colors have energy. Right?
Absolutely.
So, what are your thoughts around like what you can say the colors that are more peaceful and calming and
so I love green.
Yes.
I'm a big, so Recovery Pops is big with green, and so any kind of shades of green, from lime to chartreuse, I just love. And so, what other colors? I think like I've really started to become into like blush.
Yes.
And like certain blue grays, like the color in here.
Yeah.
Right? And so that's always been a favorite of mine. The colors that I probably won't have is red. I just, for some reason, and I have red in my skirt today, but very typically I don't wear red. I don't know what it is. I just haven't made that connection with red.
Yeah. I was laughing because I just remembered something. Red has been my favorite color for some time in my life, like when I was younger.
Right.
And my sister, actually, she's my younger sister. She doesn't love, she doesn't like red color, and she feels this way about it. She's always like, how I don't know how you wear red. How what your mind tell you when you go to the store and buy and buy red color.
That's funny.
And now I'm not like I don't like it in most of times.
Oh no.
Yeah. So I think it has a lot to do with maybe your internal energy also.
I guess so. But you know, the funny thing is when I wear red, people always comment. Always comment. They'll say, "Oh my gosh, you look so good in red. You should wear more red."
Yeah.
So go figure.
Yeah. I don't know, but now I'm more into the more soft colors.
Correct.
Yeah, as I said, like the colors here.
Correct.
The green, I love green, of course.
Yes.
It's one of my favorite colors of all times. Actually.
Yes. Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
So speaking of green, I want us to speak a little bit about recovery clubs and want to know how did you start thinking about it and when did it came to life?
So it came to life after a half marathon 1 year. I ran 13 miles and I was just parched. Even though I'd had water and I didn't want any bananas, oranges, I wanted nothing else. I wanted something cool that had the recovery properties of a banana.
Yeah.
So, and just decided.
So specific.
Right, right. And so I just decided, look, there has to be some thing out there that would help you do this, and I didn't find anything in popsicle form. And so went into the kitchen and came up with 3 flavors and just decided, I was like, I think that I have something, and started selling it at races, and people really it hit a nerve with people, and they were like, okay, this is something that I think I need after a race.
Yeah.
You know, and which was nice when people have it and you see their reaction and like, okay, this is good.
Absolutely.
You know?
Yeah. I like the entrepreneurial mindset.
I think that's how all things come about, right? Everybody says, I wish I had, and then they go find it, and if they can't find it, they manufacture it, you know, they make it. So, which is nice that this country enables you to do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
It's unlimited.
Yes.
Yeah. So how were you able to introduce that to people? Because everyone who hears about like popsicles, they know it's all about sugar and it's unhealthy, and people who run or the athletics overall, they want to make sure that they're having a healthy stuff after any activity. So how did you introduce that to them and like make them understand that it's a healthy?
Well, I think it's a constant conversation. You know, when we are at races, the first thing they see is recovery pops, right? Yeah. So they're intrigued. What does this mean?
Yes.
You're not just a regular popsicle company. How are you different? And that's how we get them to come over, and then we let them know. Well, 2 of them are coconut water based, so it provides electrolytes, and so we just kind of give the spiel about what's included that enables it to be a recovery pop, right? What are the properties? Yeah. And so ginger is an anti-inflammatory, and the antioxidants you get from strawberries and mangoes, and so you know exactly the banana.
Yes.
Right? So
I wanted to speak about that a little bit because that one, as you always say, like when whoever sees it, they don't feel like they want to eat it, but it surprises you with the taste and the fullness that you feel after you eat it.
Correct.
It has the flavor, and also makes you feel full. So.
Correct. Yeah. So it has spinach, and it has, which gives it its green color, and then it has banana. But I tell people overwhelmingly it tastes like a banana popsicle. But if you don't like banana flavored things, because my sister does not, you will still like it, because then the almond butter balances it, and the rice milk, like it all are balanced flavors, and that kind of come together, and it's surprising because most people will not start out with the protein, but then that quickly becomes their favorite.
Yeah, it became my favorite.
Yes,
Absolutely.
yes. I know you like the mango as well.
Yeah, the mango, yeah.
So that's why I brought you several. I was
Thank
like,
you.
okay, you get the strawberry as well.
Yeah. Actually, each of them like has its unique taste,
do.
and I remember the first time? Yeah, when you brought it, I wasn't sure which one should I get because
Right.
each of them had like a very unique taste.
Correct.
Yeah. So.
Correct.
Yeah, that's I just love the innovation and as I said, the mindset of thinking of problems and bringing solutions and not waiting for other people to bring the solutions. You think of yourself and
right. Well, I wanted it selfishly. I wanted it, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, I want it after a race, so
Yeah.
I'm just gonna make it. So yeah.
That's amazing. So I know that you're inspired by some personal experience in your dedication for mental health and even the recovery talks. It has more other personal
Correct.
inspiration. So
Right.
you like to share a little bit of that?
Absolutely. And so we one of the reasons that I started it in the color green is so important because that's the mental health ribbon in the month of May.
Yes.
Right? That's their color.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew I wanted, when I formed any company, I wanted it to be tied to and help the cause of mental illness because my sister had schizophrenia. My sister who came up with me from Jamaica, so we were 3 years difference, and so she came up with me and we grew up together. And when she was in her early 20s, she was diagnosed with depression and then soon after schizophrenia. So it is something that is definitely very near and dear to my heart. And again, it promotes movement because I know, to sit in your thoughts and be sedentary is not good.
That's true.
Right? And so the endorphins, like the movement, help endorphins and help you with your mental state. So, in addition to that, Recovery Pops encourages movement as a way to stay mentally healthy.
Absolutely. Yeah, well, I'm sorry about your sister.
Thank you.
And it's just such a beautiful way to be able to take, to turn the painful experiences of life to a hope and inspiration and just trying to keep such legacy and to be beneficial for everyone.
Right. Yeah, I mean, we, she's no longer with us, and as of 2007, and so definitely always think of ways to keep her legacy alive and well because she was such an important person in my life, and she was my one of my biggest inspirations. And so definitely you'll see more and hear more about her in the coming years because I would love to start a foundation. That's my goal, in a run to actually honor her.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And that's the best way, to honor our love or our relationship to people that they're not here.
Correct.
And I'm very sure she feels and she knows what you're doing and is connected.
I believe so.
Yeah, I believe the spirits are always connected.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So she will be proud, she'll be happy, and just keep up what you're doing.
Thank you. It's finding the right dose of medication for you. What works, and unfortunately, it's just it's a trial and error.
Absolutely.
And the person is going through it in their mind. It's their mind that's kind of overtaken. So, it's definitely something I'd like to see families supported as well, as they help their families through it.
Yeah, and the family's role, and even like the close people, like friends, or and specifically, as I said, family is very important because they're the closest people to you, and they understand you. They know your personality. They know what works, and actually, they are the people that you rely on them, and
Correct.
you always want them when you're going through difficult things in life.
I think it's just such a still such a stigma attached, because if it's physical, people understand that more,
Yes.
right? When it's mental, they don't quite understand what's happening or what to do, or what are the triggers, or and so it's really a testing it to see what are the different components that contribute, what helps, what doesn't, what stress related factors we found out for her were just too much, that she couldn't work because she would just get too stressed and anxious. And so you just have to understand what those are, and try to help them navigate. But again, it's their minds that are being invaded, so
and it is one of the most difficult mental illnesses, because as you said, it's inside their minds, and it's more complicated than anyone can think. And sometimes, because it makes the person have sort of double personalities in different times. They're like, they're normal, and
they're lucid, exactly.
And sometimes they're not, and they're disconnected, or they're not in the mood, or they go back to their inner circle, and they get prisoned again. So if you don't have that awareness about mental health, and specifically this illness, in most of cases people just don't understand it, and they become more burden than support. And they might think they're helping, but they're not helping, because they really don't understand the aspects and the different angles of that.
Right.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And overall mental health is an important thing for me, and I'm passionate about it as well.
Yes.
And I think there is no difference between taking care of your body and taking care of your mind, and your brain, and your heart, your spirit.
Yes.
And I always believe that, like out, yoga, meditation, prayers, all these are things that help you to stay centered and to stay mentally and spiritually healthy. Actually, I stopped it when I was when I got the baby, and it gets too much.
That's a valid excuse,
right?
Is
it? Okay.
You had a baby, yes.
You just feel like you're a totally different person, totally new person, and you have to accommodate to a new schedule, to having a whole human being depending on you 200%.
Yes.
Doing the work and all that. So,
but you'll get back to it.
Yeah, I want to get back actually. It just
you will.
It's taking longer.
It's okay.
Yeah,
it will happen.
Yeah, so I really value and understand the importance of working out, or practicing yoga, practicing meditation in the right way, and absolutely prayers, because prayers helps you just to stay connected to God. And gives you so much comfort that you don't find in anything else. So,
I agree.
Yeah, and you said you have been running for 30 years. Speaking of that,
yes.
So how did that start, and what was the process like?
How did I become a runner?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
What was the journey?
I don't even remember when. I remember it was after college. I didn't run during school. I didn't run, but it just became a way to, I just can't remember how. I think it was a friend of mine who I started running with. And I started moving soon after. I started running in Philadelphia. And then I moved to different countries, or I started traveling a lot. And it became the easiest thing to do.
Yeah.
No matter where I was, right? I didn't have to take weights. I didn't have to take any equipment. All I needed were my sneakers.
Yes.
Right? So it was just the easiest way to stay in shape and to keep my mind clear
Mm-hmm.
after a work week. Like I
Yeah.
loved running on a Friday evening,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Mm-hmm.
just to kind of clear my mind for the week and prepare for the weekend. So
Yeah.
yeah,
And you also run in marathons, right?
I've done one marathon,
Really?
just one.
Uh-huh.
I did one with my husband in honor of my sister.
Mm-hmm.
So one year in January, I got up and I said, I want to run a marathon on her birthday,
Mm-hmm.
which is May 3rd.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, who's having a marathon on May 3rd?
Mm-hmm.
And looked, and it was in Seattle. And so I said, okay. Now, usually you're supposed to train for months,
Mm-hmm.
for like, the better part of 6
To be
months
ready,
to
yeah.
a year.
Mm-hmm.
I had like 16 weeks, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Mm-hmm.
once I hit mile 20,
Mm-hmm.
it became very real.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I was like, this is horrible. I think I cried the rest of the 6 miles all the way to the finish line, but
Mhm.
I did it, and I did it in honor of her.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Thank
And
you.
it absolutely was worth it, right?
Yes, it
Yeah.
was, yes.
Yeah. But how did your body feel after? After you went back?
Initially, I felt like I just wanted someone to carry me for the next
Mhm.
48 hours everywhere. But it didn't last that long, actually.
Yes,
I would
yeah.
say I recovered pretty quickly,
Mhm.
but initially I was pretty much crawling across that
Yeah.
finish line, but
Mhm.
it's an accomplishment. I'd love to do another one just to get a better time,
Mhm.
because it wasn't such a great time, but I do a slew of half marathons, and so I'm doing the Peachtree on July 4th as well.
Yeah, yeah. I have some of my colleagues doing it.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
that's beautiful.
Yes, yes.
Well, good luck with that.
Thank you.
Let me know how did it go.
I will.
Yeah. So let's go back to entrepreneurship.
Okay.
We know it's a lonely journey,
Yes.
and it is challenging, and you have to make a lot of adjustments in your life and
Right.
deal with all the ups and downs of the journey.
Right.
So how do you manage that, and what support do you get from your community?
I think it's such a entrepreneurship, regardless of who you have
Mm-hmm.
supporting you.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody has their own lives and doing their own things, and
Yes.
so you quickly realize that you have to become proficient
Yes.
in every part of the business,
Mm-hmm.
and the ones that you do not want to become proficient in.
Yes.
In the finances, in marketing,
Mm-hmm.
in sales.
Yes.
Those 3 things that I just mentioned, in social media, 4 things I just didn't want to have anything to do with. I'm more very much like my profession, like a project manager, operations. I like that,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
The production, but to find the sales opportunities and to promote it on social media
Yeah.
has not been my strong suit. So, but had to learn.
Yes.
And so I do appreciate Start Me for taking us through every part of that journey.
Absolutely.
And helping us to really build that.
Actually, Start Me has been like one of the most amazing experiences in my life,
Yeah.
because I'm coming from a non-profit background. Business hasn't been my thing at all.
Right.
And whenever people are talking about business, I get to think about, the competition, and that
Right.
that market that's full of sharks and
Right.
But actually, after joining Start Me, I guess I found that you can be doing what you love,
Right.
and at the same time doing what you don't love. Like as I said, the finances and
Correct.
the social media marketing and all
Correct.
those aspects. But understanding the importance of that, and understanding of how to combine all those aspects to make your business work. So absolutely, Start Me has been a great experience for me.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed. And then having met so many wonderful entrepreneurs who
Yes.
are at similar stages.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's been lovely to have the support as well.
Of course. And I just love that, as you said, people are coming from different backgrounds,
Mm-hmm.
and they have totally different businesses and unique,
Correct.
like, starting from everywhere: food, art,
Yes.
education,
Yeah.
health,
Yes.
wellness.
Yes.
And it was just beautiful to see that we were all able to navigate through the structure of start me and
Right.
yeah.
Right. Well, that's the incredible thing about business. It doesn't matter your industry or what you do, right? There's certain steps that everyone has to follow,
Exactly.
right? And so certain people break out of the mold and just become sensations. But I feel like also there's a bit of luck meets preparation, you know, as well in those cases. So we just have to be prepared for that because it's coming for us.
I think you're quite prepared.
I don't know, but I'm trying every day to just, again, stay grounded and be grateful for what I have and where I am and hopeful for the future, whatever that brings.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And we know that entrepreneurship requires a lot of resilience. And here in this space, we're celebrating resilience and people's ability. For me, I think resilience isn't being strong all the time, isn't having to stay like focused or having the things in the right direction all the time, but your ability to be flexible firstly with yourself and with the zigzags and the ups and downs of your journey. Right. And on like just not giving up on yourself, on your dreams or on whatever you're working on. Right. So I was wondering what do you think from what we shared actually you have so many I can see you have so many resilient moments. Which one was your most you can call your most resilient?
Oh my gosh. I think we lost what was, I think, a really big contract. So we initially launched in 2016. Oh. And there was some good momentum. And there was some good momentum, and we thought we would be part of and have a contract. We're in a talks with the park to sell there. Yeah. And we could not get through the financials. Like we couldn't have a good meeting of the minds of what the financials should be. And we lost it. So it's for them. They wanted a certain percentage of, and I wasn't willing to raise the price. Okay. And so, and then maybe a few months later, seeing a competitor there at the park, and they had raised their price. Wow. And that was a moment where I said, it would have been great to have that contract, and I probably would have stayed in business. Yeah. Right. There would have been a number of things that probably didn't happen. Like I then took an opportunity with my company that I worked for at the time and moved to a different state. I may not have done that. Like I may not have moved had we had that contract. Yes. So it really impacted my life in the short term. But then, the idea that I wanted to relaunch it last year, because it had always been in the back of my head, like, gosh, I really should do this, and that was a choice to come back, and it was not an easy choice because we had lost so much time, but there's the landscape for Atlanta had changed as well. So changes every day. Yes. Yeah. So it was nice to see that people they remembered us in some cases from 2016. Beautiful. So it was coming back after all those years was a show of resilience, I think. Absolutely. Wow. And actually that has been a long time. Like 7 years break, right? It was a long time through COVID. Exactly. Yeah. And I know, I can relate to that. For example, my book, I have started writing it a long time ago. Right. And it has been on and off
and as I say, zigzag journey.
Yes.
I write, I stop, I get busy with so many things in life, responsibilities. And actually, recently, I discovered a totally different reason.
Okay.
And that because it's about my life
Right.
and speaking a lot about my mom in the book, and there are so much emotions there.
Right.
And so I found that whenever I sit to write, I have to bring all those memories and deal with them, and that has been so hard.
Right.
Actually, don't want to cry right now.
Right.
But in the middle, whenever I feel like I'm not writing, I'm not really keeping the momentum. There are moments where I just feel that I failed myself.
Oh.
And I feel that I shouldn't have stopped because I have a big why and I have to. So how did you deal with those moments? I know they come, right?
They do.
You feel like
they still come.
Right. But now you're
no, they still come. I mean, I think
the could-haves or should-haves.
Yeah, well, the coulda, shoulda-haves. Mm-hmm. But the way I reconcile it is that nothing happens before it's time. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right?
Absolutely.
Like nothing happens before it's time. Like this is the time. Mm-hmm. There was a reason that we had to stop. There was Absolutely. A reason why you take those moments mm-hmm. to process.
Yes.
And reflect. Mm-hmm. And write. Mm-hmm. And then do it over again. Yes. Right? There's a reason for, and that's your process. That's mm-hmm. your writing process. Maybe somebody else, they will write everything out in a month, but your process is that mm-hmm. you stop to reflect. Yes. Right? And that's a beautiful process as well. It's your own and you're true to it. Mm-hmm. And so I just, I've just come to the realization that mm-hmm. this has happened when it's supposed to happen. And, mm-hmm. I'll take this for as long as it's supposed to go, and there are times where I'm saying, oh no, this is maybe no one cares about recovery pops. Nobody, maybe this is just in my mind, in my head, and something that I wanted, and maybe the world doesn't really want it, right? Like mm-hmm. You go through those moments, and then you hear that one person who says, oh my gosh, I love this, and what a great idea, and mm-hmm. I'm so glad you thought of it. Mm-hmm. And so it just takes that one person to just kind of keep you going as well.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. And I actually agree with the part when you said it's like the process. Mm-hmm. I think the process helps us to grow.
Correct.
It's just we don't realize that when we are in the process, especially when we're anxious and we want to accomplish that goal.
Right.
And we're just thinking of that point where we reach the goal. We don't think of the process. And that's really been my case for quite a good time. Right. Just thinking of, I want to write a book and I want it to be published.
Right.
But now reflecting, I'm sure this is the best time because I'm able to connect a lot of dots and I was able to reflect a lot about so many things and making sense of so many things. So I think it's like, for me, it's the time.
It's cathartic. And, it's funny. I don't keep a journal. Mm-hmm. And I've always wanted to.
Yeah.
And I've started to at certain points, like when my sister was sick, I started to, but it hurt too much to write it. Right? Like it was too painful.
It is.
And so, that is still my barrier, is that I still don't keep a journal. I try.
Yeah.
I probably have had a journal where I've written this many pages for like 2 years, 3 years, but the goal is there, and I think once I start to do that, it will become cathartic. I know that will be part of my healing process still,
Yeah.
So I just have to get there.
Mm-hmm. It's a process. You start today and you feel like it's too painful, and stop doing that, and you might cry, and come back tomorrow or the next time and feel like you get into the momentum and you get a habit of writing, and then it will be okay.
Right.
And at least you will feel that you are healing through the journey of writing. And I 100% believe in that, because anytime I write, even if it's one paragraph, I feel different.
I agree.
Yeah, but I was struggling to deal with the pain of like starting to writing, and especially when it's about so much emotions and there are so many events included.
Right.
I guess I would feel that pain and I feel like I cannot handle it.
Right. No,
Yeah, but I think one of the things that is helping me now is when I feel that way, I just call a friend. I talk to them, they help me just, navigate the feelings and just go through that and feel a little better, continue. Right. But also more recently, also calling my husband because he's not here. Right. So also speaking to him about it and like just getting things processed is really helpful. Agreed. Yeah. Agreed. Yeah. But I can see your journey. It worth writing. It worth. It worth to be, documented. Thank you. Yeah, and I'm looking forward the charity organization you said you want to make for the mental health. Mm-hmm. Do you want to share a little bit about that? Well, it hasn't happened yet. It's been a thought of mine for years. Yeah. In conjunction with Recovery Pop. So I think it will happen very soon. Mm-hmm. And because I would love to have the inaugural run next year at the start of Mental Health Month in May. May, okay. So, and her birthday was May 3rd. Yeah. So, more to come. Okay. Yes. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. Yeah. And we'll be there and looking forward to. Yes. Yeah. Thank you. You're welcome. And I'm looking forward to your book coming out. It's coming in August. Oh my gosh, that's so exciting. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know how it's going to feel for me, but it will be a big relief. This is what I'm sure about it. Right. And it's a little scary as well because you're putting yourself out there, as I said earlier, and you feel like at some point you feel like it's too much exposure, right? So yeah, but I think one of the things that helped me taking longer is to figure out what are the things that I want to write about and what are the things that I just want to keep to myself. And taking your time helps you just to have a clear picture about that. And then what you want to communicate and who you want to help and why you're even doing it in the first place, right? Exactly. And so I think your why will supersede any fear because you know exactly why you're doing it. Exactly. It's your story, but the larger impetus is to help women and have them understand like this is my journey and this can be your journey as well, and you can be just as resilient and survive and yeah, exactly. And as I said earlier, just putting it out there that resilience is messy and it's not like one line. It can be like 100 lines and ups and downs, right. And you have to be okay with that. Like it doesn't mean that you have to be always enthusiastic and happy and productive. Right. You have your falls, but you're allowed to go through all those moments. But just get back and keep going. I think this is what we're missing in today's world because everyone feels like. Because I think of the rhythm of life and the momentum, everything is fast paced. So people feel that way in most of the times that they're, in a race with life. They're in a race with what's happening around them. Right. But, people need to realize that they have their own journeys, and no one else's journey should be like yours. 100%. And you have your own timeline that doesn't necessarily to look like anyone else's. So it's just so many messages that I'm trying to send through the book, and I hope that it tells all of that. I'm sure it will. Yeah, I'm sure it will. I love that. I think that should be something that you put at the front. Resilience is messy. Yeah, right. It's not. It's because I like that. Yes, I mean you said it. It's not. It's not this picture perfect. I think people would love for you to think that you're stoic and you come every day and you're just this calm and collected and cool and the reality of the situation is that you have days you don't want to do it. Like
but it's okay because again, that's part of your process,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And I think decompressing and stopping and
Yes.
when you need to, and just listening to your body and your mind is paramount.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think it's important, and I hope that just people understand that, because this is a big relief when you understand that it's, no one is having it all on. People are just trying to make it work and trying to make sense of their lives.
Yes.
Everyone in their own ways, but we're all trying to do the same thing
Yes.
in different directions and using different stuff.
Indeed.
Right? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. So, with all the experiences you have been through in your life, what is one thing that you can tell your younger self, an advice that you can give to yourself in your 20s or teens?
So, trust yourself. Like trust. Take a moment and stop and listen to that voice. Like find that voice because it's there.
Yes.
Right? And so I think that's the first thing. Sometimes we have so many influences, we want things, we don't even know what we want, right? We're just going the same trajectory as everybody else, right? And figure that that's what we should do. And I think stopping and finding out what you really want, what I really want, and then going after that. And then I would say for myself is be a little bit quieter, a little bit more reserved, listen more. Because I think I don't think I was always the best listener and observer. And I wish I would have taken the time to observe and listen and kind of see the bigger picture.
Yeah.
You know, instead of just like the immediate.
Right. Yeah.
But that's what I would have said to my younger self.
Beautiful advice, and I hope that all the young ladies out there can, use it.
I hope so. I hope so. Yeah.
Then I also know that you have been in so many places here in the U.S. and outside, and each place has just an impact on you.
Right.
So, what would you say was the most the most important thing you have learned from travel and going to different places?
Oh, that human beings are amazing. Like everyone, you know, like we're definitely more alike.
Yes.
Than we are different. And the kindness that I've experienced from people in other countries, I wouldn't have expected not to receive that. Like I expected to receive the kindness, but just to have it, and it be enforced again and again in various countries is lovely. But I've never been one who's again been suspicious and thought, you know, oh, these people are not going to be nice or lovely, and pretty much everywhere you will find people who are lovely. So it doesn't matter the country, but there are some countries that are absolutely my favorites, you know. So I love Costa Rica. I love my time there.
Yeah. What was the best thing that you loved about it?
In Costa Rica? The people, the food, the weather.
Right.
I mean, you name it.
Yeah.
They're what they say, pura vida. It's pure, you know.
It's pure.
Pure life.
Yeah.
You know, and they have a zest for life, and obviously I'm biased with Jamaica as well.
Yeah, of course.
You know, like there's nothing that smells like, feels like being there, and the people are unique and funny and are some of the best people that I think are out there. So
that's amazing. Yeah, thanks for sharing that. And if we thought about like differences or similarities of those places, let's say Jamaica and New York, for example, what are the I know it's like too much difference, but what are the things that you think you found there and also found in New York, things that are, if it's people or
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna just go back to that word resilience.
Right.
Like, I just feel like that is a word that embodies New Yorkers and Jamaicans, and they are unapologetic, you know, for who they are, and I think that's what makes them the forces that they are as well.
That's true. Yeah, I like the description.
Yes.
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 Yes. All right. So we had a very nice conversation.
Yes.
And I really loved hearing your perspective about different things, and I enjoyed those moments with you.
Same.
I just want to hear a final word before we let you go.
Final word.
Like any final advice or piece of wisdom or
well, I would say more people should be doing what you do. You know, I think that us putting ourselves out there as entrepreneurs is one thing, right? I think you putting yourself out in this platform is the next level. And I think with as much as you have going on, to do it and selflessly so. You're not doing it for fame, for fortune. You're doing it to help those, you know, in your country and elsewhere. Is admirable. So, you know, I just want to say I appreciate you and what you do and how you showed up, and you're an inspiration.
Thank you. Thank you. Wow, that's amazing. You want to make me cry?
No, don't cry.
Thank you. That's nice of you to say that.
Yes, of course.
Yeah. So last thing, how do you feel now? I know you said you felt good. It was hot also. Now you feel a little less, like the weather is good now, right? Sun is getting down. So.
Correct.
But yeah, I just love to check in people when they come and then when they're going. Yes.
No, you guys have made this has been the most seamless experience. You know, I didn't know what to expect. My first podcast, but like the conversation was great. Your questions were great, and just the process, you know, seamless.
Thank you. So. Thank you. And it was absolutely my pleasure. Yes. And I'm looking forward to staying in touch with you.
Absolutely.
And seeing how things are going with the talks, but also with the foundation and all that.
Yes.
And absolutely when the book comes out.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We'll do a follow-up with both, right?
Sure,
and so you're hopefully, are you going to have a launch party for your book?
Yeah.
Yay.
Yeah, we're still working on that.
The venue and where?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, you have to let us all know.
Absolutely. Yes, because you guys have been there through that, you know, all those messy moments. So
my gosh.
Yeah, it would be nice to have you all there.
You'll have all the support.
Yeah, absolutely. Sure. Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome. Of course.
That was nice.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.